goodbye is the hardest part. When we find ourselves back at the start. But I'm not so brave and I'm not so smart. No, I'm doing you a favor.
Are you good?
Yeah, I was just going over what I was gonna say today. You have any paper?
What for?
I can draw CALYPSO's logo. Maybe you can run it through a database. Takes my mind off what I'm saying too.
Okay, let's get started then. Where were we?
To start today's part of the story, we have to go back to before the famous scratch party. And the reason I didn't tell you this earlier is because I wasn't ready to, but it was a couple hours before said event, and I was in my cabin. It's in a clearing near the mountain range near the woods, and living with me was my neighbor by about, I don't really know the measurements from my house to theirs, but they were only there because
my house is getting repossessed due to reasons. Do you mind if I crash here for a bit? My friend's coming to get me soon, in like a month, so I really won't be in your hair for that long. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. Her name was Eliza, but I called her Ellie. She was setting up her stuff, and stupid me thought it would be a great idea to speak to her, and not be as introverted as I was, so I asked, "Hey, are you going to that famous scratch party?" She briefly turned around and looked at me, and I looked back, and we both smiled at one another.
No, I need to get out my stuff, and I don't really care for the famous, to be honest. We're all equal at some level.
Nice memo. She used to wear a purple cardigan with a white lavender-like t-shirt underneath. Her hair was a lighter brown than mine, and it was really long. Her eyes were brown, and she was straight up the kindest person you've ever met. We've talked a bit before, but, due to the distance between our houses, well, what was her house and mine, it made it sort of impossible for social interaction.
Thanks.
No problem. By the day of the famous scratch party, she'd officially been in my house for 3 days. She didn't really talk a lot. I wouldn't mind the conversation, but I blame it on me. I should have made the jump to do so.
Okay, look, MatJam, this is great and all, but this isn't getting us anywhere.
It ties in.
You could have told me that when it did tie in, but never mind. Let's just skip over to the part where we were yesterday. And the Scully speech, am I right?
Alright. I just heard Honey Scully's speech and I blacked out as he walked away from the platform.
Hello? You good? Can we get some help over here? This guy's fainted!
I'm on my way with the ice packs.
Joe, I've told you, that won't help fate.
And he up.
I woke up. To me it felt instantaneous, but apparently it had been for about 4 minutes. I would say 4 minutes, 27 seconds, but I'm not making a joke about my friend's deaths. What's going on? When I came to, I was surrounded by a flood of people. Even Rocket was there. The speech strategist had turned this all into a little meeting as to how they could change the world using Honey Scully's speech as scripture. I clammed up and licked it away. I knew CALYPSO would be after me. If they'd spent that much money on a little loser like me, they'd won the most out of their money. But since I wasn't good enough, I imagined they'd kill me. I was trying to run home, and as soon as I twisted round the corner of a building... surprise! I was in a slightly less populated area of Scratch, so there wasn't a huge crowd to watch me get assaulted. But even if there was, they didn't hear the speech. So, they wouldn't really care, I don't think. But Shooter was there. I have no idea how he got to my location, but he did, and he confronted me. You killed, stole, and manipulated one of my best men. If he was one of your best men, why let him escape? Why push him? Why all of this? I just said you manipulated him. Listen, MatJam, and maybe you'll learn something one day. I was on the ground, so I slowly, inch by inch, picked myself up. If he noticed me doing it immediately, he may think I was going to attack him, like last time. To soothe it all out, I asked, "Do you have any family?" "MatJam, I've already done that crap work. I'm here for you." "Shooter, now is really not the best time for a fight. I'm being chased. I'm alright. But I will be back for my vengeance, MatJam. My group fell apart after what you did at my camp. You've ruined my reputation and my self-goddamn esteem of all things. So when I do come for you, I'm making it as agonizing as possible. And next time, don't bump into me. Make sure. I didn't bump into. Shooter formed a disgusted form on his face. I shook my head at him for no reason other than trying to convince him otherwise not to frick me up, and then frantically walked on. I turned around and saw him walking in the opposite direction. He saw me, staring at him, so took this as an opportunity to remind me. Make sure! I gulped and nodded. Yes, Shooter. I then began to start to run back to my cabin, lodging, whatever you want to call it. I ran back through the trees surrounding my cabin. Once I got there, I realized the lights were off and the door was smashed down the middle, spilling out splinters on my welcome mat. So I entered the house with caution. By that I mean still in my armor, sweat dripping down my forehead and my gun pointed towards the door. I ran my shoulder into the door, around the crack line, and it collapsed into the house. I looked and everything was clean, apart from shards of broken wood, but... I heard someone crying nearby. I knew it had to be Eddie. What happened here?
People,
What?
where have you been?
Where
have you been?
Sometime later, she was sitting on my couch. I explained my side of what happened and where I'd been for the past few days.
I'm sorry to hear about your friends.
I nodded, thank you, and she smiled back.
Anyways, I was here, laying out my laundry, and then someone knocked on the door.
She told me how some people had shot down my door, right into the middle, with a stray shotgun bullet almost grazing her, and charged up into the house, dressed fully from head to toe in protective SWAT-like gear, and aimed their guns at her.
They said they worked for CALYPSO and needed to take me and you in.
Then they asked her where I'd been, and without any hesitation, she told them she didn't know. Because she didn't. I'd been gone for like a week solid since the famous scratch party. Most of it I was asleep at Shooter's camp. The scary part is that this only happened to her 20 minutes ago, when I just lost my fight with Void, so they could still be in the area. Oh no.
They said they'd be back when he'd set up the Deadland.
Oh god. I ran to my bathroom and slammed my hands against the sink. Oh no. I was scared. My reflection was staring back at me, as if my own subconscious didn't approve of what I was doing, so I thought, what's there to be scared of? There was a lot to be scared of.
MatJam? You okay?
Help me, please. She walked into the room, put her hands on my cheek, and she said,
It's gonna be okay. If no one leaves your house, then no one is in danger.
yeah. I then proceeded to block out the hole in the door with random items, clothes, everything, and then dressed from my armor, discarding it on the floor before closing up the windows. She helped for a bit before saying,
I'm gonna head off to sleep. Good night, and try not to stay up too late.
So I went to sleep and I had nightmares. Vivid nightmares. Void nightmares.
You got me killed, MatJam. You piece of crap. He's coming for you. He's coming for you.
Within a few short moments where the lucidity and the realism slowly wore off, Ellie ran into my bedroom.
What's wrong?
My eyelids jolted open fully and I saw her looking over me. I was in a pool of sweat in my bed. Yeah. I'm fine. You okay?
I'm fine.
She smiled at me before walking out as I then proceeded to go back to sleep. 3 days later, we found ourselves slouched on myself watching the TV, Scratch Fall News, Scratch Murder Mystery, all that kind of stuff. We'd become lazy since neither of us had left my house at all. After all, we couldn't. Shooter was after me, CALYPSO was after me, and for all I knew, the police were probably after me for property damage or some crap like that. But the two of us were definitely feeling stressed and overwhelmed by the events of the past few days. We didn't have a clue as to what we would need to do when they came back. You know what might help us calm down? Something to take the edge off, I guess.
Alright, I'm down.
A bit later, once we were feeling the effects like a wave washing over us, I finally felt a bit of peace that eluded me since Sebastian's death, but in high spirits we somehow found ourselves outside shopping. We found ourselves in some random shop with no grasp on the memories as to how we got there. As we continued buying, Ellie and I found ourselves laughing at everything and buying all sorts of items that caught our fancy. We were completely unaware of the strange looks that we were getting from other shoppers and store employees, lost in their own little world. Eventually, we found ourselves at the checkout, surrounded by bags and boxes filled with random, meaningless purchases. Whoa, look at all this stuff. Did we really buy all of this?
I guess we did.
But sometimes later, we found ourselves at home, and I suddenly conjured up a sense of panic as I realized the gravity of our situation. Damn it.
What?
The money we just spent, how much was it?
I have no idea. Why?
Those were the funds arranged for CALYPSO if they came after me again. Damn it. I was genuinely worried and everything was starting to wear off. We needed a plan, so she said,
Teach me how to shoot.
What?
Self-defense, just in case they come.
I guess I can give you basic lessons. Sometimes later I found myself in the backyard teaching Ellie how to shoot.
Like this?
Yeah. She displayed herself like a natural but acted like a complete beginner. I taught her how to aim correctly, though that didn't matter. Most of the time I just shoot towards my target, disregarding my aim.
Aim.
I set up some targets in the back, some old clothes stuffed together to look like a person. I kept having to refill it up with dirt every once in a while because it was all spilling out. You're doing well.
Thank you.
I didn't expect them to come back, but if they did, it wouldn't be an issue for her. More like a semi-issue. Hopefully.
Woo!
Her battle cry was more like a cheer, but I hoped she'd never reach the day when she may possibly have to use it. Nice cheer. But I didn't tell her that. Aim a little higher. Shut one eye for extra precision. Perfect. Me and Ellie high-fived and walked back inside after about 20 minutes of my awful training, teaching. And now that I think about it, it seemed more like a way to spend time together instead of watching the same ditto-filled television over and over, because she was leaving in an hour. You got your stuff?
Yep, all packed and ready to go. I just need to make a few final adjustments, and yeah, I'll be done.
She smiled at me and I smiled back. You told your friend to come around the back, with GPS phone, everything disabled, right?
Yeah.
You haven't sent any emails or anything on database about the time or vehicle you're being picked up in?
I was meant to do that?
Oh crap. We turned around as soon as we saw an engine. There was a black SUV behind my house. Ellie walked to the back window and looked outside. I followed her as we peered out of my house and into the car.
What?
We managed to take a glance through the driver's seat and we saw her friend bleeding from the neck, slumped down, and frothing from the mouth.
Ah! What?
I'm gonna go get that and then we'll go check that out. I walked over to the door and opened it and I saw her. Nothing?
Ow!
I suddenly turned around to see an armed agent standing over a bleeding Eliza from the nose. What the hell? A bullet zoomed from the open door, smashing into a pot, and a group of armed men stood far away from the house, and suddenly they stormed in. Not in fits of rage, but calmly. The guys in the SWAT gear started swooping around the house.
Get off me!
Don't touch her. I wanted to go find Ellie, but the moment I tried, that's when I was kicked to the ground. The guy that briefed us on our battle with Void was there.
Hello, MatJam.
Hi. He checked around for possible cameras before removing his mask. His face was disgusting, slightly disfigured and really pale. He had a beard that masked a lot of it, and his eyes were red as blood.
You really think you can get away that easily, MatJam?
I looked around and I quickly grabbed my blaster, which was luckily placed on a nearby counter. But the man brought out his own blaster and shot mine out of my hand with pinpoint accuracy. What exactly do you want?
I need my money's worth. I need you to join Sleeper's Men.
I don't know what that is, and even if I did, please can you just let this go, please?
I'm not letting this go.
I'm not doing it then.
Well then, you'll just have to die.
I don't care about dying. At least then I won't have to deal with you. The person looked partly amused and began to smile cruelly.
Fine. You don't care enough about your own life. That's respectable. Well, what about, let's say, her life?
The man walked closer to me. It was a power move, showing they weren't afraid to get close to me because they knew I wouldn't risk hurting them.
We have snipers on everyone in this cabin. Even me. And even her.
We'll be fine.
What? You think you can outrun a sniper bullet?
Come on, man. Damn this!
The fact of the matter is simple. You will do what we tell you, what I tell you, or she dies.
Fine, but come on, leave the girl alone.
I'm a man of my word.
He smirked before moving into the living room. I followed him from behind as he approached Ellie.
Alright, listen up. You two are coming with me to the Deadland. Don't try anything funny, or someone might get hurt.
What the hell is going on? Why are you doing this to us?
It's not up for discussion. Just do as you're told, and you'll be fine.
Wait, you said you'd leave her out of this?
The Deadland requires a loved one.
Me and Ellie looked around at each other as the two SWAT guards placed handcuffs on our wrists.
Just a precaution. Can't have you two running off while we're on our little trip.
Where are you taking us?
That's none of your concern. You'll find out when we get there.
Please, just let us go. We won't tell anyone about this. We'll find another way to get your money.
I'm sorry, but it's too late for that. You two are in this now, whether you like it or not.
The man then blindfolded me and Ellie and then began to knock us out with gas. As we succumbed to the fumes, we were loaded into a truck and taken away to an unknown destination. I woke up blindfolded once again.
Hello? Where am I?
Ellie, you okay?
Minimal blood loss, I hope.
We were led through whatever building we were in, which I assume is the one we were in last time, but I can't really vouch for that. When our blindfolds were finally removed, we were in an office overlooking an arena, sitting next to one another on a sofa, and on the other side was the head of CALYPSO.
MatJam02, now that you'll be working for me, it's about time I introduce myself. My name is Arkstar, head of CALYPSO.
Working for you?
You're going to be joining my Sleepers Men program.
He handed me an MRE.
That's your MRE, for the both of you to share for the rest of the day, while you train for the Deadland tomorrow.
And what the goddamn is that?
Deadland is the induction program. 6 people, you and 4 others, will compete against each other. We do these monthly. And because you didn't come back to me, you have a disadvantage.
Why's Ellie gotta be here?
If you lose in the Deadland, a loved one will lose with you. They'll be tied up in a chair, watching you. You fail, they fail.
And by fail, you mean...
Die. Yes.
Oh God!
Arkstar pointed towards the door and signaled us to go through.
Go through these doors to the barracks and meet the people you'll be fighting to the death against. Good luck. Most of them are sad, crazy crap sacks.
We walked over to the door, and just before we went through, he said,
Oh, and just FYI, the 6th contestant is going to be flying in on the day, so you won't see him there.
What's his name?
Viper. I think you'll like him.
He smiled viciously at us, as if I knew him, but before he could say anything else, forcing us to stay with the creepy man he was longer, I pushed Ellie and myself through the door and into the barracks. Some guy looked at us and said,
Who's you?
MatJam02.
Sup, the name's Stick.
I nodded and turned along the group as they introduced themselves to me.
I'm Vaughn.
The name's Ursa.
My name is Bex.
Oh, I'm Eliza.
You competing?
No.
Well, then you gotta go through that door with the others.
Stick pointed towards another door and Ellie hugged me for what? The first time ever, probably, before saying,
Good luck.
To me. And I said it back for no reason whatsoever apart from to lift my own spirits and not feel like I was alone. Ellie walked through the door and I was forced to wander around this barracks room filled with about 5 bunk beds. And I was forced to have conversations with all these undesirables, and eventually...
Alright guys, we need to talk about the elephant in the room here.
And what's that?
They started talking about the dead land.
We're all here to kill each other.
And? How's that an issue? Good training.
Stick, what did you think you were coming here to do?
And he was telling the truth.
I bet the winner gets a big giant wad of cash, too.
Apart from Stick and I, everybody else laughed and it was time to go to sleep. Me and Stick were in the same bunk, and in the middle of the night I whispered down and said, I hate it here.
Same man, bets on me dying in the first 5 minutes to be honest.
Saying. The next day came around pretty fast and we were all beckoned into Arkstar's office.
All your loved ones say goodbye, you know? Just in case.
He then laughed before abasing us all with another, "You're gonna die" comment. And after a while we were directed into the Deadland Arena onto pressure pads.
Good luck to everyone.
Shut up, Stick.
Hey, that rhymes.
No, it doesn't.
The Deadland was the largest arena with huge walls. It looked like a mesa biome, I guess, with a huge rock wall stopping us from leaving and a massive dusty sandstorm surrounding us.
Ah.
What? We all turned and looked at Ursher, who pointed at the entrance, and we all glared at Viper, who strode in.
Here comes the latecomer.
And he stepped on his pressure pad, triggering an alert to Arkstar to start reading out the rules. After we were all fitted into the arena, he started blasting on the announcement. I looked up to see his office from the other side, and what I saw disturbed me. Ellie and 4 other random guys were tied up in chairs with Arkstar walking behind them holding a microphone with a gun in his other hand.
Welcome to the monthly Deadland trial for a spot on Sleepers Men.
And of course, Vaughn had been pretending to listen this entire damn time.
What the heck is Sleepers Men?
Sleepers Men are the ones who walk through darkness. They're the unseen, all singing and dancing, agents of my undying words. One of you will be my newest recruit.
Good to know.
You are all in debt to me. MatJam, you owe me a lot of money. Stick, you owe me 3 lives. Ursa, you owe me your limbs. Bex, you owe me your equipment. Vaughn, you owe me your strength itself. Viper, you owe me your brother.
I looked at Viper. He was concealed in a camouflaged metallic outfit from head to toe. I couldn't see his face nor his hands. He reminded me of a part of myself, the part of me that failed my brother.
When I say go, you will have to kill each other. The arena is vast, so you can get lost physically and mentally.
Oh, so it's like Hunger Games.
Arkstar went silent for a bit, which amused me.
If you die, your correspondent will be shot to join you in said afterlife. Good luck.
We all looked at each other frantically as we heard Arkstar clear his throat through the speaker until we all suddenly heard a gunshot.
10.
I urged my mind to think of something quickly, a plan
9.
or an objective.
Good luck, my friends.
8.
The goal was to kill anyone and everyone in the
7.
arena, but they were all debtors, like
6.
me, and I kind of felt bad for them.
I will kill
5.
you all, just so you know.
But they obviously
4.
felt differently. I'd heard in life or death situations
3.
the brain forces itself into a survival setting,
2.
and I was betting all my money on that.
1. Let the games begin.
Viper immediately ran away. I assumed he wanted to spread the game out around the arena, so when I saw Vaughn start throttling Stick, I bolted away. Oh my god.
Stick is a dead man.
Feelings, thoughts, tactics all raced through my mind. Vaughn was definitely the strongest among the group. The only way to beat him would be to outsmart him, but how to do that is debated.
Bex has been killed.
Jesus Christ, we're all dead. Then everything went silent and suddenly... Ursula lunged at me, jolting me to the ground and began beating away at me. Ah! Ow!
This is so much Fun!
I managed to get the upper hand eventually, pushing her back into the dust cloud. I could see her just staring at me in astonishment, as if no one had ever beaten her in her life, and then... Oh my god! Viper snapped Ursha's neck from behind, before staring at me and doing a gun gesture towards me before running away.
Ursa is dead. Only MatJam, Viper, and Vaughn remain.
Anyone nearby? I wandered around for a bit, not knowing where everyone was. Why Oxstar had to have a dust cloud in the arena is beyond me. I heard someone behind me, so I spun around without hesitation. Who's there? But there was no one until... Vaughn charged at me, tackling me to the ground. I managed to slide away, but he soon followed on, slamming his hands against the ground, pushing me back before I could see a second to get up.
I'm winning this thing, bud. You should have gotten used to losing by now.
He managed to pin me down.
I heard about your fight with Void. How much monkey arc you put into your effort? It cost me my serum.
Vaughn then tugged on my shoulder. I thought it may have been dislocated. Ow! Please, no!
But when I heard of how badly you lost, and how your little buddies got electrocuted, and it was all your fault, I couldn't help but laugh.
I got a bit teary for a second, a bit lost in the moment, and then I suddenly returned. I snapped. Shut up! I leaped up, breaking one of his fingers which was wrapped around me as he went to deal with it. I took in the moment and dashed in a random direction, hoping myself to be safe. I turned around to see him still after me. And from the side, suddenly, Viper tackled me to the ground and Vaughn was approaching fast. Let me go! By the time Vaughn arrived, I managed to free myself from Viper's restraints and his constant punching of my face. I shook him off and right into Vaughn, knocking him over. Ow! But I didn't back away this time, and the three of us circled one another, ready for any moment. Oh! We pounced upon one another, dealing blow after blow after blow. And I managed to knock out all of Vaughn's teeth, and he choked on them. And he died.
Vaughn is dead. MatJam wins.
What? But I looked around and Viper was nowhere to be found. He'd somehow, in a 5-second gap, managed to find a way to bail out, and how he did this still puzzles me to this day.
You know it's a he?
I'll get to that.
Understood.
Sometimes later, once Arsa's drones had checked the field, confirming the other contestants to be deceased, he had the other active sleepers men haul me up to his office, which overlooked the entire dead land arena.
MatJam.
Me and Ellie immediately went to hug one another after all her and I had narrowly escaped death that day.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. You okay?
I'm fine now.
Okay. Enough with the hugging and whining. MatJam, we need to talk about money.
I know that now you know I can do the job. How am I gonna get your money back?
Oh, I don't need the money back. I barely spent a cent on you guys.
What? What about the whole 60% of CALYPSO savings thing?
If you're lying to help and recruit other people to further help your dying economy, is it still a lie? Anyway, MatJam, I'm going to have you do a couple jobs for me over the next few months. And then we'll build up to one big one. And you'll get paid for all of this, keep in mind.
Okay, I'll do it.
You never had a choice, but okay. Go back to your cabin and get some rest. We'll message you when we need you to come in for fittings, training, and whatever. See you around. And Eliza, don't move out. We will kill you. We need you there.
I nodded to him and without saying a word led Eliza out of there. My life had just changed forever.
And, I understand. Let me run to look for the database, give you a bit to brief, but I'll be back in an hour or so ready to hear more. So, get your story straight. I'll bring you a glass of water as well.
Thank you.
See you in a bit.
You too.